This revolution is not going away.
This is the Ron Paul Liberty Report with Ron Paul, Daniel McAdams, and Chris Rossini.
We are all ambassadors of the Ron Paul doctrine, and it's so simple. Just tell the truth.
An idea whose time has come and cannot be stopped by any army or any government.
Thank you for tuning in to the Liberty Report. With us today, we have Daniel McAdams, our co-host. Daniel, good to see you today.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Doing fine.
Good.
And let's see, we're going to be talking about a new senator, probably the newest senator that we have at these days.
Yeah.
And she lived with somebody or lived in a part of her family, for a long time. And she was appointed after Lindsey died. So she's appointed, but she has to go through a primary race.
Yeah.
Because it looks like the great sympathies weren't transferred to her. And my suspicion is there's a couple positions just being a little confused on is not enough. There might be a sinister reason why she's confused. Maybe she has a subtle difference of opinion on some of the things that goes on. So that's all of a sudden has shown up that there's a lot of people in the Republican Party being opposed to Lindsey's sister in the primary come up. She was just appointed. She has it. She's a senator up until the primary, and then it'll be settled who the Republican candidate would be. And I understand whoever wins out will probably be the senator because it's a Republican state.
Yeah. It's a big controversy. Now, I'll put up that first clip. We were looking at it yesterday. She was in the debate and she was asked a question. This is Politico's take on it. Woefully unprepared. Graham critics seize on her foreign policy misstep. Go to that next one. South Carolina Senator Darlene Graham has given opponents fresh ammunition to attack her on her biggest vulnerability, her inexperience. She revealed a major blind spot in her understanding of a critical foreign policy issue, U.S.-Taiwan relations, during yesterday's debate for the October 25th snap Senate primary runoff to replace her late brother, Lindsey Graham. Her response spread like wildfire on social media, with critics saying it proves she's unprepared to take office. Now, what did she say? Go to the next one. She said, actually go one beyond that just now. She said, asked whether Taiwan and the South China Sea are relevant national security priorities, Graham responded, I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not that informed on national security. So she added that national security, quote, is not my thing, not my area of expertise, but I still do support the military. So they asked her about Taiwan and China. She said, I've got no idea. It's not my thing.
I could be safe, and that's a safe statement for people across the board. You have to follow up. I supported the military. I did take up arms against the military, and I believe there's a reason why you're in the military, and I lived with it. I didn't agree with a lot of what things I had to do, fly around the world and looking at all these bases, and I visited so many of those bases in the Middle East and the Far East as a flight surgeon, and now they're talking about closing them. What will a poor flight surgeon do now if he's trying to visit the world, and get hauled around and show off all these bases? So, but there's various arguments of why that is happening. They said they were wearing out, and the people who don't want to make a big deal of it, I call it a bit of retreat, because I think it's a combination of things. Yes, maybe those bases weren't worthwhile, but they weren't worthwhile way back then, because when I visited so many of those bases, it was in the early 1960s. Even Taiwan, I was in Taiwan, but the same arguments were there. We have to protect Taiwan, but we have had a base there, and we spent some time there but the Cold War between the two, it's different, but not much different. But now it's important because they make some money of the chips that's necessary in the computer business. So, and I get to thinking, that's why we have to protect them. Well, why can't we compete with them?
Yeah.
If they have 90% of this market, I would think that the problem is what's happened to our system, because, well, it's being managed. A lot of money goes into it. Trillions of dollars are going into it, but we can't compete with Taiwan. So we have to make sure we have an army sitting over there.
Yeah. The thing is, it's really funny. I mean, I'll tell our audience, you and I, we meet in the morning, we decide what we're going to talk about. You were literally reading that article as I sent it to you, both thinking the same thing, which is the contrarian opinion, which is, she says, I'm sorry, I don't know really that much about Taiwan and China. It's not my area of expertise. And everyone flipped out over it. Where you and I were actually thinking that's pretty good, you know? And the thing is that you actually said it yourself. I'm going to bust you on this. You said she probably knows better than her brother about these issues, because her brother, yes, he knew a lot about national security issues, but everything he knew was wrong. Every position he took was wrong. So it's almost refreshing to have a new face in there saying, you know what, I don't get it all. It's not my thing. You know, I'm not an expert.
I think this is the sentence that got her into so much trouble and challenging her to becoming a permanent senator. And that is, quote, Graham responded, and this has to do with Taiwan and the South China Sea, how much national security we need. Well, they're not near our country, so I don't know why. But her quote is, I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not that informed on national security. So she added that national security is not my thing, not my area of expertise, but I do support the military. You know, if her brother had been more honest, that's what he should be saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, how many wars did he help, bring about? You have to have cheerleaders, and he was one of the cheerleaders that was always cheering on another war.
Yes, exactly. And one of the things that I've often said in interviews that people don't really understand is that she's not alone. Actually, most of Congress, in our experience, is really not that informed on foreign policy. You remember when you were in the House International Relations Committee, and I would sit there as a staffer, and I looked at what every other staffer would bring a stack of material to read, and it was all New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and I would come in with LouRockwell.com, antiwar.com, reading things that are different to try to broaden, not that I was such a great person, but just trying to broaden your perspective. So the idea that you are intelligent and informed on foreign policy by reading the establishment media is an absolute fallacy.
So you messed me up, and that's why I never became chairman of the committee.
No, or I kept you from being president. If it wasn't for me and antiwar.com, you would have been president.
So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't think she's going to win the election.
I think she's going to have problems, but actually,
but Trump's sticking by her as of now.
As of now. But
Boy.
She did get a reprieve because Hannity had her on, and he said, "But you do support Israel, don't you?" Oh yeah. So I think might be safe.
I support Israel.
Well, here's what she said also that got her into trouble, which I think I wish every senator would say this. If you go to that next one, Graham's campaign asked to clarify. Let's go to backwards one. Graham's campaign asked to clarify her response on U.S.-Taiwan relations, and her critics' attack over her misstep pointed toward comments she made in the spin room after the debate. Here's a quote from Senator Darlene Graham. "What's important are the people of South Carolina. They're worried about their pocketbooks more than they're worried about the South China Sea, quite honestly." That's a great quote. I mean, I might vote for her.
I keep wondering, how did she survive under these conditions and the influence? I mean, the whole country saw her brother as a saint.
Yeah.
But maybe she is an independent thinker. In a way, if somebody like that, there could be a little bit of guidance. I don't think I quit reading, the first time. I was motivated by some philosophic things, but I think it's an ongoing process. So if she's very sincere, and I think she is, that she will learn how to best use that information.
Yeah.
But right now, it didn't take long for them to gang up on her.
Yeah. How dare she?
I'm not going to support her.
Well, one of the things people know about when you were in Congress that was very unique is that you refused to hire people with congressional experience, staff experience. And there's a good reason for that, because you wanted them to understand the philosophy. Well, the problem for someone like Senator Darlene Graham is that even if she may actually have not the same view as her brother, what you know exactly what's going to happen, Dr. Paul. The machine has already gotten to her. Hey, here's your foreign policy guy. Here's your military guy. Here's your national security guy, gal, I should say, guy or gal. And they're all going to be cut from the same cloth as Lindsey Graham. And so she'll be informed. She'll be speaking the same things.
Well,
that
they're
he was speaking.
probably already in her unit right now. Automatic transfer, easy transfer.
Yeah.
But be interested to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
but it does raise a question also about Taiwan and China.
Yeah.
And there are some people determined that we have to stir up trouble, or at least use it as a reason to keep it in our empire.
Yeah.
And that's not going to last forever.
Well, here's what the establishment says. If you go to that next one, Graham's stumble was a far cry from her late brother's hawkish defense of Taiwan, in which Lindsey Graham had openly criticized the expansionist aims of Chinese President Xi Jinping and called allies of China, quote, dirtbags, and stressed the need to maintain status quo between Beijing and Taipei to protect U.S. national security interests. Now, here's Bonnie Glaser, who is with the German Marshall Fund, which is not German and it's not Marshall, it's our money. They're basically big neocons. She said, anyone running for a seat in Congress should be able to explain to the American people why Taiwan is important to American interests. Taiwan is a vibrant democracy of 23 million people, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we would say, no, you shouldn't have to explain why Taiwan's important, because we should be worried about our country first.
Yes. The first day, when I finally did get to be on foreign policy, that we were in a room laying plans and talking about the year coming up, and the leader at that time had to leave the room. He was the official to deliver us our policy statement. But the conversation immediately went, 2 or 3 would get together. Where are you going? Where do you want to go? Where are we going to plan these trips? It was a strategy. They loved it. I saw it as a responsibility, because that's what I was supposed to do and know what these pilots were doing. But that was high on the agenda as soon as they were freed of somebody, observing, the establishment. And these are the people that would allow them to get on their committee. And the more clout you have, the easier it is to travel.
And that's really an important point you make, because all of the people who are known as experts, all of the members and senators who were experts, they became experts because they went on this dog and pony show. Oh, I went to Taiwan to see how great it is. Oh, I went to Israel to see how wonderful they are. Oh, I went to Paris, this and that and the other. They didn't see anything that their handlers didn't want them to see.
I just thought of this because there's a big difference of me being on an airplane as a responsibility to study the habits and the stresses of a pilot. But these other groups, when they plan it, you'll probably remember, they would get together and they had to have 6 people. And they were literally hiring out a military craft.
Yeah.
It's a private plane, and they fly there. It has nothing to do with studying, what our troops are doing over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's hope that Senator Graham actually tells them all to buzz off and joins us. She's welcome on our show. She can switch between us. We'll talk about Taiwan. We'll talk about South Carolina.
You want to seal her fate.
Yeah, exactly.
But it might be the beginning of a new life.
You never know. Well, this is Good News Thursday because we have good news in our second article. This is thanks to our good friend Dave DeCamp at antiwar.com. If you put the next one up, report. U.S. considers reducing Persian Gulf military presence after Iran war. The U.S. is considering reducing its military presence in the Persian Gulf. The Washington Post reported on Tuesday, as many of its bases in the region have been badly damaged by Iranian attacks. Many of the bases in the Gulf had been evacuated before the U.S. and Israel launched the bombing campaign against Iran on February 28th. So basically, this is an admission of reality, Dr. Paul. Our bases are all blown up, and we're not going to rebuild them because we can't. Because all of a sudden, the emperor has no clothes. they were not able to be defended. We could not defend them. We are not the omniscient military power that they claimed that we were.
Well, some of them out there writing about this wants to diminish the thought that it was a retreat. I think in a way it is a retreat, because they said, well, those bases, they were scheduled to be taken down anyway because they weren't very effective. They made excuses. So it was in the plan. But the whole thing, they had to do this in a hurry. And I don't know how many bases were, when it was going on, I didn't realize how successful those drones were. It's amazing.
And missiles, exactly. So go to that next one. During the most recent round of strikes, the U.S. pulled most of its forces back to Jordan, though Iran was able to strike U.S. bases there and killed at least 3 U.S. troops, injuring more than 100. So they thought Jordan was safe, and it wasn't, Dr. Paul. We reported on this show. Iran hit Jordan easily and destroyed a bunch of stuff there. The Post report said that the damage to U.S. bases in the Gulf has, quote, prompted a once-in-a-generation chance for the Pentagon to reconsider its presence in the region. Well, that's music to our ears, isn't it? A once-in-a-generation chance to remove our troops. That sounds fantastic.
Because it was deliberate and they had changed their attitude about foreign policy.
Yeah.
Or is it a form of retreat?
Yeah.
Trying to set the stage to make it look like, a planned event anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, if the result of this is that we can close some of these bases, remember we used to, in the old days, we would post that map of Iran with all the U.S. bases around it, so many of them. Well, those are all gone now, which is a good thing. So why do you need $1.5 trillion military budget?
So they were going to substitute it with Second World War II aircraft carriers.
Yeah. Except those are no good either. They're full of mold and everyone's getting sick on them.
I can't. Boy, that story is so grotesque.
Yeah, it is.
Not a couple $1 million, for this kind of stuff, but it's the money spent. That's a big deal. But the harm done by us, the empire has to look strong. We have to scare people, intimidate them. So it looks like right now they might have to shift their gear from just military threats. They claim that we might be able to close them down by economic policies. But I think it's pretty neat when they started talking about the economic policy that the Iranians came back again, mocking our economy. With big celebrations, parades. We hit $40 trillion and we're alive and well, and people don't care, and we can print money forever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the third thing we are talking about is Trump's latest Truth Social post, because we always talk about the pearls of wisdom that drop from his lips. Go to the next one. Iran blasts Trump's economic D-Day threat diversion, which will fail as a new carrier arrives in Mideast waters. Now go to that next one. Here's what Trump said. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing. I don't even know if I can see it. No one has given the Islamic Republic of Iran greater opportunity to make a deal than me. Tragically for them, they failed to take it. Therefore, today, I am announcing the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country. This will be economic warfare in isolation of an unprecedented scale. The Navy is gone. Their Air Force is destroyed. Their military factories are now rubble. Their currency is worthless, and their country is hanging by a thread. Today, I'm also announcing that any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will face tremendous economic consequences. Oil smuggling, swap lines, cash transfers, exchange houses, ship registries from front companies. It all needs to stop now. You know who you are. This will be economic D-Day. And we are in need of all our allies to stand with the U.S. to isolate and defeat the Iran threat. These maniacs are on the ropes, and these are historic measures that will cripple them and their ability to project terror worldwide. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
I think the administration must have their targets mislabeled or something, because there are economic consequences, and a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are complaining, but you don't have to go 7,000 miles to try to prove that. the economic consequences are here.
Yeah.
You know, and they have to be fooled by the continuous lying about scaring,
Yeah.
terrorizing people, and that's they think that will do the trick. But you talk about economic consequences; it's ongoing, and that's why this system is coming down. It's because we're ignoring it. If we turn it around and say the economic consequences and peace in the world depends on us making sure that that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, which is, I don't think anybody right now is lying awake thinking that pretty soon they're going to have that weapon and they're going to launch it someplace. You know, it's just they got their goals mixed up, and I think that it's going to show pretty soon, because accelerating, you know, economic policy, you know, like tariffs, put on tariffs. Well, what is a tariff? Oh, we just 50% tariffs on in Canada. They're not our friends anymore. Well, who's going to pay it? Do they have enough money to pay? Oh no, the American consumer pays it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how stupid it is.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about this rant by Trump, two things actually. Number one, he says any country that does business with Iran is going to be absolutely economically alienated. Well, that means China and Russia, because they both do business with Iran, as does Pakistan. So he's going to do what? He's going to go to economic war with China? I don't think that's going to end well for us.
No, we already are there, and we're losing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know.
So, so he said, if you go to that next one, actually go to the Brett Erickson, the smart guy. He says, earlier today I spoke with Al Jazeera about Trump's threat of economic D-Day being imposed on Iran. Put quite simply, if these tools offered a favorable risk reward, they already would have been employed. If they offered a risk reward profile that was favorable for Trump, he said, they would have been implemented. Chinese banks are far and away the most consequential lever Trump could pull, but targeting them would carry significant international fallout and might still fail to change the course of the war, he said. Only Chinese banks will suffice, and that is truly crossing the Rubicon. So he makes that good point.
But this would diminish the responsibility of Hegseth. He has to be involved, so they're shifting away. He doesn't like this. Unless he's called up to send the troops to enforce all these things that aren't going to work. But he's not going to be called on to decide what the taxes should be or the tariffs should be, and yet he's a Secretary of War.
Yeah, that's what he says. Well, the point is too that Trump says every other day, we've already won, we've already defeated them. The Strait is completely open for business. So why did he even put this post out? Why is he flipping out about things if we've already won? Like he said, his credibility is in the trash.
Why don't you ask one more question? Ask the question, why don't you come on this program? We'd love to interview you. Our people are curious.
Yeah, they
We're
are.
working for peace and prosperity.
That's right.
Why don't you come visit?
Come join us, exactly. Well, I'm going to close out. I will note, Dr. Paul, I don't want to embarrass you, but there are a lot of greetings for your birthday today among our people, which is very nice and touching. We certainly all share that sentiment. Those of us that are lucky enough to work with you on a daily basis, it's been a wonderful 25 years with you. But I won't say any more. I hope you have a wonderful time today. Put on that last photograph and remind you that the best way to celebrate is with Ron Paul. Come to see us on September 5th, Dulles, Virginia, front row at the Revolution. All of our friends are going to be there, including the friends in this photograph. It's going to be a really, really interesting and fun time. There is a link in YouTube and Rumble. If you're not on either of those, you can just go to ronpaulinstitute.org and click to get more information and get your tickets to join us on the 5th. Over to you, Dr. Paul.
Very good. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to the Liberty Report, because we're here promoting something we believed in and continue to believe in, and continue to look for ways of spreading a message which we consider very crucial. And fortunately, we were able to reach people every day to some degree, which at one time in my career of trying to spread a message, I think it's miraculous that we can talk to so many people. So even when things look bad, and when you look at who's controlling the government and who's controlling the media, it can be discouraging. But the technology is there, the message is there. It's not complicated. And I always claim that if I could talk to 12-year-olds, they could understand it better than some of the business people who have joined the ranks of interventionism. So I want to thank our audience for participating and contributing and being supportive. And when you have a wonder what you should do, I tell people just do whatever you want to do. Everybody has a talent, even if it's just talking to their neighbor, and not to pretend that you can use the bully pulpit and yell and shout and scream like our politicians do in Washington. It doesn't work that way. A good message will survive, and you can't stop it if the message is worth something. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today to the Liberty Report. Please return soon.
Thanks for watching the Ron Paul Liberty Report. Like and subscribe to help spread the message. And until next time, live free.
This country is in a revolution, and I happen to be